The Medal of Honor is the United States' highest award for military valor in action. Since its inception 150 years ago, 3,508 individuals across all branches of the U.S. Armed Forces have received this distinction. The criteria for the award are notoriously rigorous, requiring proof of an act of heroism so significant that it stands out clearly above all other service. Many medals are awarded posthumously, reflecting the ultimate price paid by those who prioritize the lives of others over their own safety. Etched within the medal are the values that each recipient displayed in the moments that mattered: bravery, courage, sacrifice, integrity. Please welcome Sergeant Paul Wright, a Vietnam veteran, who will share the stories of the Medal of Honor recipients who were born in Greenville County.
On the beach of Bougainville in the Solomon Islands on 1 November 1943, Sergeant Robert Owens and his unit went ashore and were immediately pinned down by a strongly defended and well-camouflaged Japanese gun emplacement. He placed his men in defensive positions to provide fire, and acting alone, Sergeant Owens rushed the 75-millimeter gun, entered a bunker, silenced the cannon, and drove the Japanese troops to retreat into the jungle. Though Owens was severely wounded and facing certain death, he silenced that powerful weapon and thereby saved the lives of his squad and his brothers in arms on the embattled beach. By his initiative and his heroism, his self-sacrifice, he contributed immeasurably to the success of this vital landing operation. The Medal of Honor, our nation's highest honor, was presented posthumously to his father on May 12, 1945. After serving 10 years in the Marine Corps, Staff Sergeant Robert Kennemore was deployed to Korea in 1950. He served in the battle to regain Seoul and was then involved in the action of Chosin Reservoir. Assuming leadership of his company after his commanding officer was severely wounded, he led his unit courageously, placing them in strong defensive positions. He and two other machine gunners, positioned in a trench, were overrun and surrounded and came under grenade and attack by the enemy. Kennemore was able to pick up and throw the first grenade out of the trench before it detonated. A second and third grenade landed, and he attempted to push the second grenade into the muddy soil, then knelt over the third, taking the full force of the explosion with his body. He lost both legs, but he saved the lives of his fellow Marines. Sergeant Kennemore was returned to the United States for treatment and was awarded the Medal of Honor in 1952 by President Harry Truman for his indomitable courage, his leadership, and his selfless effort on behalf of his fellow Marines. Sergeant Kennemore died on April 26, 1989. Joseph Hooper from Piedmont, South Carolina, was the most dedicated soldier of the Vietnam War, having received 7 Purple Hearts, 2 Silver Stars, and the Medal of Honor. During the Tet Offensive of 1968, while serving as squad leader of Company Delta in the jungle of Vietnam, his troops came under devastating fire from entrenched Viet Cong forces along a riverbank. Ignoring a hail of machine gun fire, Hooper led a handful of men across the river, overran and silenced multiple enemy bunkers in a daring charge that inspired his company to follow. When several of his men were wounded, he ran into open fire, not once, but multiple times to pull them to safety. Though wounded himself, Hooper single-handedly stormed and destroyed 3 more enemy bunkers with grenades and rifle fire. Despite hand-to-hand combat, multiple wounds, and blood loss, he kept fighting, ultimately neutralizing the final pocket of enemy resistance in 3 houses. Sergeant Hooper then established a final defensive line and reorganized his men. Though severely weakened by grenade fragments, he refused evacuation until the next morning. After ensuring that every man in his unit was safe, his supreme valor, his inspiring leadership, and his heroic self-sacrifice were directly responsible for his company's success and provided a lasting example in personal courage for every man on the field. Sergeant Joe Ronnie Hooper received the Medal of Honor from President Richard Nixon in March of 1969. He died on the 6th of May, 1979, in Louisville, Kentucky. Born in Greenville in 1949, Navy SEAL Michael Thornton served multiple tours in Vietnam and Thailand from 1968 to 1973. Not only did he receive the Medal of Honor for his own extraordinary courage, but he also saved the life of another Medal of Honor recipient, SEAL Lieutenant Thomas Norris, who had been honored for life-saving heroism in battles only months earlier. On his final tour in Vietnam, Petty Officer Thornton, with Lieutenant Norris and a small team of 3 South Vietnamese commandos, were discovered and engaged in a fierce firefight by a much larger North Vietnamese Army force. Lieutenant Norris was shot in the face and believed to be dead. Petty Officer Thornton returned through a hail of fire to Lieutenant's last known position. He located him and succeeded in removing the unconscious lieutenant to the water's edge. He inflated the lieutenant's life jacket, and he towed him and a wounded South Vietnamese commando seaward for 2 hours before being rescued by a support craft. Petty Officer Thornton is directly responsible for saving the life of this Navy officer, as well as enabling the safe extraction of all his patrol members. He received the Medal of Honor from President Richard Nixon on 15 October 1973 for his bravery and perseverance under fire. Both Michael Thornton and Thomas Norris are alive and well today. By the sacrifice of such Americans as these, they have given us that chance of a new birth of freedom. Let's resolve today and every day to be a nation worthy of their sacrifice. God bless you, my friends, and God bless the United States of America.